Hello and welcome to another episode of Popular Biomechanics for Kids. I'm your host Ben Hollis, and today we're talking pull downs. This is the pull down to Chinatown for WAFL'S episode. So I'll explain that real quick. WAFL'S, wide as fuck lats. If you kids want a pair of waffles, you might want to include pull downs in your strategy. Now, why Chinatown? Everybody knows that unless you're from there. The only reason you'd go to Chinatown is to get a deal, because that's where the deals are. And what is a deal? It's a greater return on your investment of money. And what do I always talk about? Getting the best return on your investment of time and effort, getting the absolute best result for the effort that you're putting in. So that's the parallel I'm trying to draw. It's pretty clear to see now, isn't it? Let's do a quick review of the universal law of levers and then take a look at the biomechanics of a pull down so you have a better idea what the fuck's going on. Should you include pull downs in your strategy to build yourself a pair of waffles? So we've got two variables you need to be aware of: the lever and the direction of resistance. When they're parallel to one another, it's an inactive position. When they're perpendicular, it's a maximally active position. That's when the muscles responsible for pulling on that bone have to do the most amount of work to overcome the resistance. Let's take a look at Rudy Poo Candy Ass. Today he's doing a lat pull down. The bar's above his head. He's seated completely upright. The lever we want to look at is the upper arm bone. The lat is going to pull on that bone and do what looks to be a semicircle type of motion. But if you go too far and your elbow goes beyond your body, you're probably trying to pull the bar all the way down to your lap and do a lap pull down. It's a complete waste of fucking time and total fucking bullshit. So you want to focus on keeping your elbow in front of your body to some degree, and you're actually going to overload the lat most when your elbow is directly in front of your body. That's when the lever is going to be perpendicular to the direction of resistance as long as it stays above your head. So you're going to be overloading the lat at its mid-range for the most part. But if you begin to lean back, some people might say that that's bad form, or that's just he's not doing it right. These people don't understand biomechanics and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. Now, yes, if he is leaning back to generate momentum to lower the mass to overcome so his muscles have to do less work, then he's a fucking idiot and it's a complete waste of time. But if he's trying to increase the demand on the muscle responsible for pulling on that bone at a different relative length, then the guy actually might be smarter than you. So you might want to shut your fucking mouth before you open it next time. So what's happening here is as Rudy Poo Candy Ass begins to lean back, you'll see the relative angle of the lever in relation to his torso. The more he leans back, the more that the lever is going to be closer to his torso when it directly opposes the direction of resistance. Therefore, he's increasing the demand on the lat in its more shortened position, or what bodybuilders call the lower lat. It's not a real muscle. It's not a real anything. What they're actually trying to say is the more contracted position of the lat against resistance anyways. Now, something else you might want to be aware of is the width of your grip. The wider you go, if you look at where the elbows are in these diagrams, the elbows do not get as far away from the body or as close to where the body would be if you're doing your pull downs with a wider grip. So you're getting less range of motion, you're facilitating less of a contraction and less of a stretch to be performed. Does this make a narrow grip better? Well, it depends on what you want to accomplish. There are benefits to a wider grip as well, but if you're actually trying to train the lat through a full range of motion, you're not going to be doing it to the same degree as if you went with a narrower grip. So what does all this mean? Therefore, lat pull downs overload the lats in their mid-range, but as you begin to lean back, you increase the demand on the lats in their more shortened position. The range of motion is limited by grip width. So yes, a wider grip does not facilitate for a greater range of motion to be performed, a greater stretch or a greater contraction to take place, but because of this, you're actually doing less work. You're moving the weight less far, or not as far as you would be with a narrow grip. Therefore, since you're doing less work, you might be able to do more work in terms of getting more reps or lifting more weight. So you can make up for the fact that you're not getting the stretch and contraction and range of motion you would with a narrow grip by doing more in terms of weight and repetitions. Now, other things you're going to want to pay attention to is how's your body going to compensate. Your shoulders are either going to rise or round forward. The reason for that is that the muscles capacity to produce force is going to be less as you try to overcome resistance when the muscles are in their shortest or longest ranges. So what's happening is as you're doing a lat pull down, you're trying to shorten the lat against resistance, and as you try to enter its shortest range, the body will compensate by rounding the shoulders or having them rise up to prevent that from happening because the weight is either too heavy or the muscles are too fatigued. What will become a limiting factor? Well, always the smallest muscles involved in the lift, or any muscle that doesn't have an opportunity to disengage. As it relates to pull downs, it'll be the biceps and the forearms. So this is something anybody should know should they want to include pull downs in their strategy to build themselves a pair of waffles. If you like this information, feel free to share. Click the fucking button at the bottom, subscribe to the channel, and I will keep bringing it, kids.